Hello, everybody. Good morning. Okay, so what are we drawing? Oh, Batman. We're drawing Batman on SketchCraft. We're gonna wrap this drawing portion of this up here today, folks. On this fine morning, we're gonna wrap this up. 'Cause I got other shit to do. So I got some more inking to do on this boot and shit like that. Some little bit of inking to do on bats here, and then I gotta draw this gargoyle and some background stuff. So it's pretty simple, pretty easy to do here. So real time for this was yesterday. That'll be up live on the stream today or tomorrow, depending on my workload. So we'll get to that. In the meantime, chat room's open. Feel free to say hello, leave comments below for all you future crafties. I will answer them. Hey, Kyle, what's up? Yeah, I went to go do some writing, but my some of my research stuff, like my iPads and stuff, are down, and I don't like to do my research and writing in my room, so I am just recharging everything. So I figured get to work early. You still in Kuwait, Kyle? Got back yesterday. Well, if you got free time and you want to chat on the Skype, it's open, so no stress. Sure. Yeah, I got your tweet, Hector. It's funny. Sort of. I don't know if it'll be a one-to-one. Depends how much room I have. Hey, what's up, Kyle?
Good morning.
How was your trip to the Middle East? Ish.
It was it was pretty good.
Ah, cool.
Hey,
Was
we
it
got a
warmer or cooler than LA?
pretty close to the same. It was like mid 80s
Eh,
was our high. So
it's good to know.
well, they said it's an unusually cool uh, part of the year that it's normally not quite this cold. But days I had to wear a jacket. I was like, what? Well, part of the day. But yeah, it was fun. I saw a bunch of the parts of Kuwait City I hadn't seen before, so can't complain. This Batman's coming out pretty cool.
Hopefully, right?
That's what you aim for.
It's just this guy that hooked me up last con kind of overpaid for something. Um, Came back this con, so it was last year, right? And he was like, "Hey, and so I said, "Look, why don't I hook this up post con?" And he wanted this Dark Knight Return thing, and I really wanted the background kind of worked out, you know.
Hmm.
And I was like, "Well, by the time I figure out how to do Kyle's piece, I'll have this all worked." So here we are. Because on the final color, I'll have like the lightning bolt and the whole thing, which is not really a Copic friendly thing to do. Those backgrounds,
Hmm.
you just don't. I don't know, man. They don't look right. I tried it with the Darth Maul. It was not good.
Yeah, I remember you weren't too happy with that.
Yeah.
It ends up kind of muddled looking.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do digital background for this then?
No, it's gonna be Distress Ink.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So I'll print this back out and Copic color him and Distress Ink background. You saw the test, the lightning bolt test. You were at my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is for that.
Nice. Did you say you have seen Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
Is it worth seeing
Yes.
IMAX 3D?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I recommend. What other films have you seen in 3D the last year or so?
Jungle Book
Uh huh.
and hmm, Inside Out,
All right.
Star Wars.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Might be one or two others, but
Yeah, this is up there with like Coraline or Avatar. Jungle Book was pretty good. I don't know if it was necessary,
Hmm.
didn't hurt, you know. Um, the Star Wars conversion was better than I thought it would be, given JJ's personal dislike for the medium. Like I think the
Yeah.
3D on Rogue One will end up being phenomenal because I think the director's way more into it. It seems to be really dependent upon the engagement of the person involved in that.
Yeah, I made the mistake of seeing the new Star Wars in 3D at the Cinerama Dome, which is a
Ooh.
cool screen, but it's curved. And
Yeah, that's not good.
so I felt like I don't know if the light wasn't getting polarized right to my glasses because this whenever I had my head centered would be in 3D, but then on the edges I could see like the 3D effect like going like out of phase and becoming blurry.
Yeah, that's not good.
And, and so I will avoid any more 3D Cinerama Dome things
I only
except
see
for
3D in the theaters in IMAX. That's it.
yeah.
You know. Otherwise, I'll wait till like I get it at home. The light levels I can trust in IMAX. The screen's big enough, so you got circumference. It tends to be square, which actually helps the format a little bit more for whatever reason. Um, but like all Marvel movies, so the credits aren't in 3D, but the post credits are. They don't really, you're like, oh, you gotta very quickly sort of, flip those back on. Spoilers if there's post scenes in a Marvel movie.
Yeah. In case anybody didn't know. Yeah, I'll probably go to the Cinerama Dome for one more 3D film because they're doing the Barry Lynd's Long Walk or whatever that is, the Ang Lee movie. And
Oh,
I
the 120 frames per second. Yeah, that's
yeah,
an unfair thing though because Douglas Trumbull has 120 frames per second process, but it's a This is just 120 frames. It's not like it's shooting at 120 frames and doing pull down for 3D.
yeah,
It's just 120 frames. So they go, "Oh, 120 frames is just weird and it doesn't make much sense." I'm like, "Yeah, mm, you know."
yeah. I
So
guess the ArcLight is installing a new projector, and I guess there's only supposed to be like two theaters in the U.S. that are going to be able to show it at 120 3D 4K.
they said the laser IMAX is dope. The new laser projection. They have laser projection for IMAX. Said
Hmm.
that shit's pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, this is a laser projection system too.
For IMAX?
Uh, that they're putting in the
Mm.
Cinerama Dome
Oh, the
for
Cinerama.
yeah, because I guess they're the only projectors that are even capable of doing 4K 3D 120. And so I'm like, well, I'll go see it that way, just
Them and probably Disneyland, right?
just from a technology standpoint. Like,
I'm with you.
it'll be
I mean, I would
interesting.
go see it if it were available. Or here, I would go see it just from a technological standpoint. I'm all into that shit, dude. But I'm also very aware that there's a big difference between 120 frames per second 3D Ang Lee and 120 frames per second 3D Jim Cameron, like that. And for people who think that there isn't a difference, haters. So it's like there's a big difference between Cameron's 3D and or even a Marvel post convert 3D and that time George Lucas tried to post convert the prequels. That was fucking wonderful. That was pathetic, bro.
Yeah,
That is some of the most pathetic post convert I've ever seen. The Phantom Menace 3D, which you would think, oh shit, the fucking Padres. I mean, it's got an annoying dude, but that's got to be pretty awesome. Barely noticeable. You know, just completely barely noticeable, man. Horrible.
Well, I guess that's the 3D those movies deserved.
Oh, and all the merchandise we had to eat because of it.
What? Your Jar Jar shirts weren't flying off the shelves?
All we did was like Darth Maul shit, and, you know what I mean? Some of the fighters, and just none of it sold. You know, they're like, I like Darth Maul. I'm like, it doesn't sell. You know,
Hmm,
it just doesn't sell.
that's surprising. I would have thought Darth Maul would have been the only thing to sell,
No, none of
and
it
that it would have
sold.
sold well.
Some of the droid ships kind of sold, but that's about it. You know, people hate that movie, man. Like, you can't trust the internet's opinion. I'm becoming more in the mindset that the internet that we sort of get through the opinion that we sort of take from the internet, you know, the zeitgeist, is largely controlled by talking points. You know what I mean? Like anything else, like it just how could it be, Kyle? That because I had this discussion the other day. My friends keep telling me the same opinions about movies. I'm like, how can there? If I go read 1,000 page book and you read 1,000 page book and we talk about this, we're gonna have some similarities in terms of something, but there's gonna be just completely different opinions, you know, on
Hmm.
things. It can't be so many fucking, and that's just two people. It can't possibly be that a movie comes out and everyone has the same fucking opinion. You know what I mean? Like that's impossible. Like I wonder what the actual probability is that millions of people could just miraculously share the same fucking opinion. Or could it be that they all just sort of, you know, agree with something and then spat it back out, you know, as if it
Yeah,
were their opinion, you know?
I
And
think part of it's probably the brief nature of the internet, where it's like I only have 160 characters to tell you what I thought of this movie.
here's a meme.
Yeah, yep.
Here's a
Here,
GIF.
here's a meme with a dog.
Here's a dog in a crab outfit.
Yeah. And that kind of format just doesn't foster like
Well, even
deep
like YouTube
analysis or
videos.
conversation.
But even YouTube videos have plenty of analysis. The problem is just that people just look. I mean, I get the average person isn't going to logically fucking reason and deduct, and you know they're just going to go, oh yeah, you know. But a lot of so-called friends of mine, or so-called friends, but you know, so-called now that is a Freudian slip. Tells you how Rob feels, you know. They just have these opinions that I'm like,
I knew
you
it,
know,
Rob. I knew it.
like when people are like, the Force Awakens is the worst fucking Star Wars. I'm like, I can't live in this universe. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are out your fucking minds, dude. You know, like, just
Yeah.
can't. Like my buddy Chris, right? I was in the army with this dude, and he didn't like the Phantom Menace when it came out, and I sort of could talk him into parts of it, you know, because I was a bit of an apologist at the time, right? And
We all.
yeah, you know, hey man, I admit when I fucking was like, I was off my fucking rocker, you know. That's why I
I
like cats
saw
like,
it. I saw it 5 times.
yeah, we all contributed to that 400 something $1 million, you know. So domestic gross, right? So he was like, yeah, and the reasons he gave at the time were pretty consistent with, you know, the problem with the film is that it's a lot of it's children humor, you know, the worst kind. No real spiritualism in the film to speak of any, you know, anything. Seems to be a lot of technology tech demo stuff. Now this is interesting because now he's of the mind that now he doesn't have that ability to think for himself and he just sort of like spouts off anything. So he's like, I don't like Star Wars, it's too kiddie. But that Guardians of the Galaxy is fucking, you know, and I'm like, what? You know, there's too many jokes in The Force Awakens, but there's Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm like, you're out your fucking mind, bro. Like, you know, like you're talking about a movie that is fun, but it's fun. I don't understand, you know. I don't
Yeah.
get it, you know. And so now he's a big Doctor Strange guy. And when I first met him, he was like, "Wouldn't it be great if they made an Avengers movie with all these guys in it?" I'm like, "I don't know how that's possible, given how the movie rights were at the time. This is 1999, 2000." And then here we are, right at the point where that's possible. And the Doctor Strange movie comes out. He's like, "It's just not. I don't think it's gonna be dark enough." I'm like, "They're making a Doctor Strange. You should just be fucking lucky that they're even making this thing that should not even be possible." You know, it should feature like Kevin Hart. You know,
Yeah, Kevin
right?
Hart is Doctor Strange,
Yeah, Doctor S or STRSTNG or some shit. You know what I mean? Featuring Vin Diesel.
but only if we can get Dwayne Johnson to be like the guru person who helps him.
Right. So
I'd
he's like,
watch
well,
that.
it's not the perfect film. I'm like, few films are, bro. Few films are perfect films. And by the way, the ones that I consider to be perfect films were never financial successes. I don't know what I don't consider any of the Star Wars films to be perfect. Not even Empire Strikes Back. You know, the one where Luke gets zero lightsaber training and goes and fights Vader. Okay, like sure, they're just fun movies, like, and it's a cool universe I'd like to live in, as opposed
Yeah,
to say, I don't think I'd ever want to wake up in the Aliens Predator universe. Like, oh, I don't know about that one. Matter of fact, I think I'd rather live in the Freddy universe than the fucking Aliens versus Predator universe. But but it is funny, man. Here you got a movie like Doctor Strange where they're dealing with multiple dimensions and realities and shit like that. And meanwhile, over in DC, they're like, we got a Joker. We figured out how to do the Joker. Like, we kind of think we did. No, we didn't. Like, like it is. And I am a DC dude. Like, I won't even lie, man. Like, I'll take Batman over fucking any Marvel character any day of the week. In the Batman universe. But let's be honest, man. Like, there should be 19 fucking Batman films with Ben Affleck in it in production right now. Is it that hard? It's like the Punisher. Like, is it that hard to make a Punisher thing? A guy who just
apparently it is.
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's hilarious. And I look at The Force Awakens, I'm like, man, it's so easy for me to sit on the sidelines and tell them what they should have done, given how close they got to like really, really perfection. Like really, really like pretty fucking like it's a solid fucking little adventure film that could be a little bit smarter in certain areas. But who knows what that committee was like? The fucking film was so broken. Like that series was so broken. And people who are fans of the prequels go, "Well, no, I enjoyed it." I'm like, "You have no idea how bad the merchandise was." Situation. Like Star Wars was paid for by merchandise since day one. Like this. I mean, action figures paid for The Empire Strikes Back, folks. All right, like period. So like when action figures in Star Wars aren't selling, someone fucked up somewhere really, really bad. You know, and I had to sit in those meetings with Walmart. Being told how it's not working. And what can we do? I'm like, there's nothing we can. This is a George Lucas problem. We cannot make a movie in which the hero murders a bunch of children with I don't know, rides giant ticks. You fucking name it. You know what I mean? Where do we even start? You know? How do you make Liam Neeson a Jedi and fuck that up? You know? What I'm trying to figure out. That's why I love Batman Begins when it came out. I'm like, finally, he gets to play a fucking dark Jedi. Like he's more of a Jedi in Batman Begins than he is in the Star Wars film.
Yeah,
You know? Yeah, that's a major. And they had that weird. They had a. I'll tell you, man. They had a strong reason for those deadlines, and First meeting we had about fixing Star Wars merchandise was in August of 2012, and I sat right in this room and I was like, look, because everyone's looking at me. Rob's fucking Mr. Star Wars. You tell us, you know. And I'm like, well, here's the problem. Even if you had a script, they need new movies. I said, even if you started shooting a new film, because this is the time we already had the Avengers had just come out. I'm like, the fucking motherfucking Avengers came out. Like I'm like, we haven't had a Star Wars movie since 2005. If you put a script into production tomorrow, the earliest that's coming out is 2015, given how the fucking effects work. You know what I mean? Production, effects, pre-production, post-production. I don't even see how it's possible for
Yeah.
the next 3 years. So I can't solve this problem, you know? And I look at it now and it seems so easy that they could take the exact same story. First off, dude, cut R2D2 out. He serves no purpose other than to be there. He's with Luke on some other planet. Problem solved there. Then they go, well, how do you find Luke? I'm like, really simple. This is so simple. I don't even know why they didn't fucking come up with it. Is they think they're looking for a map, right? And they find this map on Jakku. Okay, that's what the droid got. So that's just kind of like a similar setup to episode 4. The reality is that ain't the map. The map is Rey. If she uses the Force, if you use the Force, you could find Luke. The same way Luke was able to fucking use the Force to destroy the Death Star with the targeting without a targeting computer. So by the time she has the awakening, she's able to find him. She's like the last of the people who would know that location. You know? So she uses the Force. Like it's so simple. They needed this whole map thing becomes irrelevant. And then you make the fucking leader of the Empire or whatever, Thrawn. Give them a tactical military guy who's putting together a Sithless version of Dark Jedi, like the Knights of Ren or whatever. Something that isn't bound by some weird fucking emperor. You know? They're just consolidating spiritual power and training fucking stormtroopers to fight people if they're gonna have the Force and shit. Like it's so not hard, dude. Just simplify certain things. But they got so close that it's like, well, things like the super weapon are just we don't really need to see that anymore. But I could see why they would do it because, quite frankly, we just had Darth Vader give one of the worst lines in the history of cinema. Darth Vader, you know. I can't believe out of all the fucking lines in the prequels, the one that we'd all remember is no. Like I just can't. I never would have predicted that in 1999. You know, once Darth Vader shows up, this fucking whole thing's gonna be amazing. Nope.
Oh, 1999 Rob was so wrong.
Oh yeah, dude. I was just I had my I had my awakening. Lucas is just making it all up. It's a house of cards. Game over, man. Game over. I became fucking Hudson. You know. Just put her in charge. I'm looking to fucking Kathleen Kennedy. You know. But The Force Awakens is as good a film as Iron Man 1.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
right? And did that not set Marvel up pretty well? And now the question is, are the next films going to be Iron Man 2? Right? are they
Oh,
are
I
they going
hope
to be
not.
Captain America 2? That's the question.
Yeah.
You know?
Hoping for more Civil War, less the Mandarin.
Yeah. We're looking more towards Winter Soldier, Civil War, less Iron Man 3's cleverness.
Crusher says, if Star Wars 8 has another goddamn giant battle star / planet weapon, I am done with Star Wars.
I seriously doubt Ryan Johnson is going to go there. And given all the other decisions Lucasfilm's made of late, like hiring the Lego dudes, the guy from The Arrival, which man, I was just watching the trailer again. I'm like, how does Kyle? You fuck up a Star Wars film one day. I'm never gonna let you hear the fucking end of it.
Oh, please don't let me hear the end of it if I ever do that.
uh,
But Crusher, I hate to break it to you. Spoiler alert: Rogue One. It's
oh
about a
yeah,
giant battle star station.
there's a giant battle star in
Yeah,
Rogue One.
that's
Yeah.
that's what it's about.
Mm.
It's not just in the movie. That's what the whole movie is about.
I know. I wish the main chick in Rogue One was like a Twi'lek or something, you know? Just because a lot of my friends, it's just hard. You can get the two British chicks mixed up pretty easily, if you know? Or or a different ethnicity or something.
Just
Stop
not.
hiring white British chicks for the protagonist roles. I don't mind women, just gotta diversify this up a little bit, folks. Like, getting ridiculous. Imagine if they made a spin-off movie in the 80s of Star Wars and it was another white, blonde-haired, you know, or they did it in 87 and it was the dude from Saved by the Bell. What's his name? Zach.
Screech.
That's Screech. That's Screech. Yeah, Screech. That would have been amazing.
It's incredible the amount of junk mail I get. Like,
Even though you're
I
on like don't send me junk mail lists.
like I don't remember signing up for all this stuff. And it only becomes more apparent when I go away for 7 days and I come back and I haven't checked my email. Like, 'cause I have like my work email, which doesn't get junk. I check that when I'm off working, but then I have my other email, which is where I sign up for stuff or
I like how people are like, Marvel has an antagonist problem. I'm like, sure, but box office wise doesn't seem to matter. Like, you know, like in a nitpicky sort of way, you know, not in a Phantom Menaces sort of way. Like, who the fuck is the bad guy? Oh, they're racist aliens. Wonderful. Even I don't like jumping on that bandwagon, but when those fucking Nemoidians talk, that's tough. It's a tough thing to defend. How to get out down that. Could you imagine any other fucking franchise trying to pull that off? Like if Ben Affleck came out and that was his Batman voice, I am a Pataman, you know? People be like, fucking Ben Affleck lost his fucking mind. A Superman, we got to go down there and save her from a doomsday. And then you're like, well, okay, so that must have been a bad decision. No, whole movie had that fucking weird shit going on. We can't all talk like British people. I think it's best. All the bad guys just talk like they're British people. The only one I thought really worked was the Watto. Give that guy credit. That guy seemed to actually like the best acting in that movie. I actually think was from
from from a CG character.
well, performance is everything, Doug.
It is.
Did Rick and Morty should do a Star Wars Purge episode? They go in. Good call, Hector. He didn't say Rick and Morty. He said Star Wars Purge, and I'm like, dude, Rick and Morty. Because you say the Purge, I think Rick and Morty. That's how it
Yeah.
works. That's so my mind has just replaced the actual movie with the Rick and Morty episode.
Did you watch any of the claymation Rick and Morty stuff?
No, I
Uh,
saw a pic the other day. It looked pretty creepy. Is it funny?
I haven't watched it yet. I I saw it came out when I was in Kuwait and didn't have time to give it a view. And then I forgot about it until you mentioned Rick and Morty right now. will add that to Kyle's list of things to do today.
Tough list.
Well, there's also I'm I gotta go grocery shopping. I have like zero food.
It's election day. All you gotta do is buy beer. Just
I
beer
don't
and
th-
wait.
I don't
Might be
think
all you.
it's not humanly possible to get drunk enough to for this election. I got to make this my movie week to get caught up on movies.
I'm behind on Westworld.
Me too. I'm still on. I've seen 2 episodes still.
I got my wife involved, and I can't tell if she wants to watch. Like, can I watch ahead? Because I'm already ahead, right? It's like, can I? You know. And if I ask, she'll be, oh well, yeah, if you want. But I don't know if that's true. I can't.
Yeah, yeah. That thing. No, no, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know if that's actually fine. Okay, if she doesn't bring up Westworld for a certain amount of days, does that pique the engagement? You know what I mean? Like I know she likes it, but I know it's violent for her. So she likes it, but she's also terrified of certain moments. I might have to. Then I'm like, but then do I end up watching it twice? Which is fun to do because there's so much going on. But I'm like, there's other things I could also be doing than watching it twice. Like I'll
Mm.
watch it twice again. I just don't know if I want to do it right after I just watched it. It's confusing for me, man.
Hector says no, don't do it. I agree, Hector. If you have to ask if it's okay, then it's probably not.
Like I watched the Collider, the Schmodown movie trivia, right? And I get most of these questions before they answer them, which is tough enough, dude, because they answer them pretty quick. And my wife looks at me. She's like, "You watch these?" I'm like, "No, I don't watch these. I really, sadly, I fucking know who was in Radio Flyer. Like I know who narrated Radio. I actually auditioned for Radio Flyer when I was a
Really?
kid. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's one of the few times my mom wanted to be she really wanted to be a celebrity mom, showbiz mom.
How'd that work out?
They cast Elijah Wood, so it's like,
I mean, like,
you
I guess
know.
if you're gonna get beat, might as well get beat by Elijah Wood.
Yeah, well, wisely so. I know afterward I went and played a lot of Mega Man 2. So that was a good day for Rob. It was rainy, it wasn't too hot out, and I played Mega Man 2 all night. So
It was a win in Rob's book.
I just think it was one of those contractual, they have to look for other people, because of the union rules or something.
Yeah,
But shocking it went to Elijah Wood.
yeah. You got beat out by future Frodo.
And that other kid who was in the
There's
movie. Yeah, I know, there was his little brother, right?
I've never seen Radio Flyer.
Oh, yeah. Do yourself a favor. It's I don't know, man. It's no Stand By Me, but it's not a bad movie. It's one
Hector
of those.
says,
It's like a Boy Who Could Fly kind of like film. You know.
mm,
You ever see that one?
"The Boy Who Could Fly."
Yeah. It's about a.
Uh,
It's a movie in which no one flies. You know. Like you're like, where's the radio flyer? Well, like it's in the movie, but in the loosest. I guess it's better than when they say they're going to make a movie about Radio Flyer and it actually becomes like the Radio Flyer. Now it would come to life, and grant them wishes and be voiced by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Shaquille O'Neal or, and have an auto-tune song and shit, you know. I actually tried to make like a bit of a drama out of it. So it's just
I
heavy
mean,
shit for little kids to be watching a movie. It's pretty heavy shit, dude. Put it that way.
I could see a Radio Flyer movie by the Coen brothers, like sort of like Hudsucker Proxy, where it's the guy who invents the Radio Flyer wagon.
That would have been a much more This is more like it's one step away from. Did you ever see that movie with Bill Paxton where they go back in time and like it's a flashback and like he sees God, you know? And you ever seen that one? Where he thinks he's having
Doesn't
visions from God.
doesn't sound familiar.
Matt Damon narrates it because he's like giving sort of testimony or whatever. No, it's kind of like that. You're like, what? So,
Makes sense. Just like that movie you haven't seen.
yeah, that Radio Flyer, everybody. Take that movie over the Phantom Menace any fucking day of the week. Yeah, I'd say it's a more depressing version of Flight of the Navigator. It's a bit more hardcore.
All right, there's a
Somewhere
movie
between
I've
Flight
seen.
of the Navigator. I'd say in terms of tone, it's somewhere between Flight of the Navigator and Stand By Me. You know? Which again, it's a movie called Radio Flyer. A little ragged? Like, well, The Boy Who Could Fly. I saw that shit in the movie theaters. There's a movie. Fred Gwynn's in it though. So and Fred Savage.
It's a movie of Fred's.
It's funny. What's that? Rhino finally released the soundtrack to that. And I like the score, and I have fond memories of the score. Years ago, they finally released the score on a CD. They're like very limited quantities, very limited quantities. Like there's only like 500 of these things. It's gonna be. I'm like, all right, so I bought one. It came with two. Like there was a second one in there, and I'm like, do I return? What do I tell them? It is limited. What am I gonna do with two of these things? You know, I had to have a. What do I do? So then I eventually email. I'm like, it came with two. They're like, just keep it. I'm like, now I'm like, no, actually, I want you to take it. Like first, I was like, well, I got two, but you know, now I'm like, what do I do with two?
Collector's item, man. You pile it in the pile of collector's item stuff
No
that
one's
one
seen the
day you
movie.
hope to
It's not a
sell.
collector's. No one has ever seen the movie or cares. You know.
Yeah. Radio Flyer was a Richard Donner film.
Well, so was Omen. You know. I think Richard Donner needed a little bit of a Spielberg on that one. He needed less Omen, more Goonies.
Hey, Walrus.
I am.
You
I am.
is the Walrus.
I am the. I am the. I am the. Yes, Donnie, Valimir, Iliad. What are you talking about, Walter? Someone stole your rug? You're in your own element, Donnie. Do not.
Shut up! Shut up, Donnie.
Just like he should have won an Oscar for that fucking role, bro. What performance supporting actor was better than John Goodman that year? Come on.
Hey, Darth Andrew.
I mean, if J.K. Simmons can win an Oscar for yelling at Mr. Fantastic, then I think.
But he yelled so good. I think John Goodman isn't cast in enough movies.
I killed him in
Dang.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, he was so creepy.
But that's a movie where people are like, I don't know if it's a movie. I'm like, it's a movie. It's just not a fucking event film. It's a small little movie. You know? It's the kind of movie I would have picked up on Cinemax when I was a kid and been like, that's that fucking movie. You know?
Little Duckling is back. Welcome back, Little Duckling. I wasn't here last night, but now I am.
Good times last night.
I had the stream up, but I was like unpacking, going through all my emails, like I will casually view this one. Gotta get back up to speed.
It was worth listening to. Last night was funny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, John Goodman. I was like, who? Kyle? Batman?
Which is interesting because Brie Larson is also in it, and they both started movies about being trapped in rooms underground last year.
A useless fact. It's very interesting.
I was just trying to tie it all together. Kyle, anything on Cloverfield, the monster flick? Oh, because I I guess JJ wants to do like a Cloverfield movie like every year or something.
Yeah,
Is
but it's
what I
more like the
read.
Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
I've never felt that they're supposed to be a continuation of monster movies. Just pretend it's Spawn, a Spawn movie. Somewhere in that background, Spawn. That's what the Spawn movie will be like. So just time you hear Cloverfield, you just think Spawn. May as well.
but yeah. I don't really know anything about this third Cloverfield movie they're working on. So
JJ's listened to a lot of Coast to Coast. That's basically it. I know because I've listened to them all up until a few years ago. So I quit. I was running around. Normally they do this 9/11 Remembrance show, and I always like to hear the crazy conspiracies. And this one year they didn't do it. They just had this numerology chick on, and that's when I was like, "Fuck this show." You can have that fucking broad on any fucking day of the week. You got to put her on 9 fucking 11. You know, it's like the day Kennedy's assassinated is the day I want to hear about the Kennedy shit. It's like once a year I want to bust out the conspiracies. I want to get Jim Mars on there. I want to hear all that shit. That's the day. What do they talk about on the fucking JFK anniversary? Like fucking, whether turmeric's gonna fucking help you solve cancer or some shit like that. I'm like, fucking dicks. I don't need this, I got Audible. I got hours to kill here. I need real topics. Even if they're full of bullshit theories, I just want to hear them.
Oh yeah, Arrival opens this week. I know what I'm doing Thursday night. Yeah, that's assuming it gets a Thursday night release. And Disney is raking in the money this year.
Dude, they were up 5.8 billion before Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
And they still have that Moana movie and Rogue One.
yeah. They're like,
Yeah.
we already beat last year, and like our biggest couple movies have not even come out yet.
So they're gonna beat Universal's take, which was like a total crazy fluke last year. Because the Jurassic World did way better than people thought it would. You know,
Yeah,
it's like fuck space. Call of Duty, the new one should have been fucking dinosaurs. You know, should make the next Far Cry just a fucking Jurassic Park knockoff.
I was happy to see Sean Astin's going to be in Stranger Things season 2.
I haven't finished season one yet, so no spoilers for that. I'm gonna finish it next week. Uh,
Nice.
I know that life is starting to normalize. Well, then there's the election day, right? So, no, Rob, just don't say that normalized shit. Yeah. Next week, who knows? Who knows what next week will be like? Just got to get to Rogue One. You know.
Yeah, the world can fall apart after that, but we at least got to get our Rogue One.
Gosh, I hope Transformers tanks in China this year. Really needs. God, China has to stop bailing out Michael Bay.
Yeah, China, you're ruining it for everybody. But at least I read that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 is probably not going to happen.
Or at least a direct sequel to what they just made, right?
Yeah,
God.
I guess the second one really underperformed. Like, well, yeah, because they're terrible.
Uh, I wish that were the case.
It's like,
I
how
wish
do you
that.
screw up a Ninja Turtles so bad?
Well,
I did
give
see
them
the
proton packs, and
and make
aviators.
and make them all female turtles.
Well, okay,
Okay.
you said that, Kyle. I didn't say that. That's you. That's Kyle. You can view Kyle's profile on Tinder at kylegotback.com.
At
uh,
Kyle.whyseveryone.swipe.left.com.
is that how that
Or
works? That's after my time, my dating
I've
time.
I've never actually used Twitter, or not Twitter. I barely use Twitter,
You
but
use Twitter.
uh,
Don't lie.
I check it like once a month. But yeah, I've never done any internet dating stuff.
That's how I met my wife. She hit me up on the Yahoo. This is way back in the day. Like, it's
Back when
like,
Yahoo was still a thing.
well, they signed you up, whether you wanted it or not. And I ignored her. So that's how it worked out. She agreed to meet at this
Um,
coffee shop, and then some people I know showed up from school, and I left. I was like, well, if this chick's fucking crazy, I don't want to deal with the stories at school. So then we rescheduled. Then I fucked that one up. Then we rescheduled. See, luckily these Harry Potter books were coming out, so she had a lot of Harry Potter to read. She liked going back to this coffee shop. So.
who is on the other side?
That's Kyle.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Yeah. His information's in his links and stuff. Kyle is a cinematographer in Hollywood. Or are you a cinematographer or are you a camera rental guy? Which one?
I do, I do not own a camera to rent out, so
I thought you rented camera equipment as well, like for side money,
oh no, not really.
like Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Like you're just going out stealing fucking equipment and then pawning it for, stealing bicycles to get camera equipment.
It's actually it's been a big problem recently. Like a lot of people have been getting cameras stolen lately.
Really? How does that
Yeah.
happen on a set?
Well, no, like this guy went and he rented a bunch of cameras on one weekend and then just disappeared,
Uh,
which
mm,
I is weird because you can't really sell them because there's not enough of them out there, and they're all have serial numbers. And if you actually want to ever get them serviced or anything, like it's based off your serial numbers, so they can track that stuff. So it's probably a guy that wants to shoot his own, like start his own like like studio or whatever, and
it's a
it's
great
just
way
like
to start. Like once
I'll
he's
just steal
visible,
all the gear.
when they knows who he is. Let's say you beat the odds and you become famous. Aren't they gonna go? You're the motherfucker who stole my cameras.
Yeah.
The logic doesn't really. That's like when Shia LaBeouf just stole that guy's comic and made a whole movie, like word for
Yeah.
word. Like,
Yeah.
okay, that's a plan, but what happens when it does well? Then what? he's gonna, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna.
And he's like, "Oh, it's I'm honoring him by using his by stealing his stuff."
See, you can't. You can't. Only person who could say that without laughing is Shia LaBeouf. You know, like that. Even a Bond villain would be like, it's pretty fucked up. Like, I mean, Hollywood is kind of a small place. You know.
Yeah, well, the studio stole all this stuff. Like the internet went to work like figuring out who he is, and I guess he's from like the east side of the country, and like it's it's kind of a crazy thing. Like his brother was in like prison or something. And, I mean, it sounds like a great family. This guy comes from. Which is why people should always insure their equipment if they're going to rent it out.
Yeah, but even if it's insured, you gotta still that's your deductible. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's not
you're
free
out a
money.
couple grand.
It's not free money. You know, like it doesn't quite work that way. Your premiums go up. It's a whole fucking thing.
Yeah. Is this gargoyle a specific gargoyle, or is it just one you invented?
Huh? The face is based off the cartoon gargoyles. But there's
Okay,
enough room to. Thought that'd be a
that's
nice
right.
little Easter egg. There isn't enough room here to draw a full one, you know?
Hmm.
Just kind of. That character doesn't have wings, but if I don't put wings on this fucking thing, I know the guy's gonna be like, "Get the gargoyle doesn't have wings." So. But I'll be, but it's from the cartoon gargoyle, you know. So. And it's not like my best attempt at drawing. You know what I mean? Like the thing, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
kind of get it, put all the effort into Batman. Yeah, Bronx. It was just a terror dog. Basically made a terror dog.
I'm probably going to say your name wrong, but D10 is learning photography in college, fashion technology as a minor track, and French.
Oh, there's your competition, Kyle.
I don't know French. Dang it.
The language of love. You ever seen Better Off Dead?
Yeah.
Go down the hill really fast. Something gets in your way. Turn.
John John Cusack, right? Is in that?
Yeah, it's, it's one of my favorite films.
Was that a Hughes film?
No, man, it's this guy from
Uh,
it was his first film right out of CalArts. My teacher, my animation teacher went to school with him at CalArts. He literally came right out of CalArts. So the director hand animated all the little animated sequences. That's actually how he animated.
Savage Steve Holland.
Yeah, Savage Steve. They did that. Not quite a legitimate sequel, but a sequel, pseudo sequel with One Crazy Summer.
Hmm.
The big screen debut of Demi Moore. Not her first debut. Her first debut was in this shitty TV show called Ninja Master, which didn't go anywhere. You
What?
perhaps have seen the Mystery Science Theater with Ninja Master.
No, I haven't.
I highly recommend, Kyle. If you do not have it, I will provide it. The Mystery Science Theater Ninja. So they took this shitty fucking 80s pilot and put it on video cassette, called it a movie. It's not.
Oh, Master Ninja.
Master Ninja. Yeah. Whatever. Lee
Oh,
Van Creek. Whatever
and
his
they
name.
got the sequel treatment too.
No, those are just the other two episodes. It's like four episodes.
Okay,
Dude, it literally ends and then starts with a brand new story. They're just TV episodes.
nice.
Doing all sorts of crazy, classical 80s nonsense, like, helping out the union. Um, uh, TV tropes. It's the best.
Yes, on YouTube as the Mystery Science Theater, the
Yeah, like he
one
tries to
and two.
kiss her, and clearly she's not having it. It's the best. It's the best. I think it's like my personal favorite Mystery Science. I don't think it's their best. It's just the one I could just put on no matter what. Because ninja humor can never get tired of that.
Yeah,
Plus, 80s TV tropes. Bunch of white guys pretend to be ninjas. Some really horrific narration from the lead actor, the Van Hootens or whatever. Lives in a van, has got a pet mouse, knows karate, shit like that. Doesn't seem to have any job. I was also a dirt bike champion. Don't ask me why. And then when like Lee Van Cleef puts on the ninja mask, it's clearly an Asian guy under there. But because since he has sort of Asian eyes, they cast him. Like you can tell, Lee Van Cleef sort of has Asian eyes. So, oh, ooh, it's the best. Oh man. Yeah, the first time I went skiing, or the only time I went snowboarding and skiing, was in the Swiss Alps when I was in the army. I went out there and gave that a shot until I realized I could break my wrist. But the first time I did that, I was going down the hill really fast, yelling at $2, $2. Like all the other soldiers skiing, like two guys got the joke. And one of them was a guy I grew up with, happened to be stationed with me.
so this piece is going to be interesting with distressed ink background, just because you actually have a background as well.
Yeah, but the buildings are silhouette, so not really.
Yeah,
It's not gonna be so hard.
you just can go on top of that,
Yeah,
on top of the
doesn't
buildings,
really
and
doesn't really matter. It'll be lighter at the bottom anyhow, so it's not
yeah.
gonna, so
I guess I just meant most of your other distressed ink pieces are just a character floating in like the distressed ink world, and so this one will be
yeah,
a
I'm not rendering cities on every fucking commission.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
not not for the price of a
Well, I don't even care about the
of a
price. I just don't want the trouble. It's a fucking commission. Like who
yeah.
cares? So, but it is a Dark Knight Returns. So.
And like you said, this guy's getting extra special hooked up.
And I know it'll gain me internet points. So
Rob gets 3.5 internet points.
Thank you, Griffin Kyle. Or Dumble Kyle. What they call it? They said Johnny Depp
You,
might play. Collider was saying the other day, Johnny Depp might play Dumbledore in these new movies or whatever. And they're like, Dumble Depp. And I was like, that's fucking hilarious. And the guy, John Campbell, the guy who came up with it, was very proud of him. Or Dumble Depp. And everyone was like, it's too good. He thought of it.
it's one of those things like, uh, I I think I would have come up with that if I had enough time, but I don't. I'd like to think I'm that clever.
Well, you got to be in that room where you're all just talking shit. And it just
Yeah,
pops out. You know what I mean? It's almost like a subconscious thought. Like, and then everyone laughs, and then you're like, that's why it's why we pay me in Chipotle. You know, like,
and then someone hires you, and they're like, "All right, I need jokes on demand." You're like, "I don't know how to do that."
yeah, it doesn't work that way. Game over, man.
Game over, man.
Okay, I had a little bit of a break. Sometimes when I draw something, it takes a little bit out of me. I feel like Admiral Akbar after the Super Star Destroyer goes into the Death Star, and he just leans back and sits in his chair. Such good acting. This piece is fun. The Final Fantasy took a bite out of me.
Yeah, that is a lot of characters.
We only have 8 more of those to do.
But you got your X-Men Age of
Final
Apocalypse, right?
Fantasy 9 to do, which is a 2 piece. Final
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy 6, which is a 1 piece. X Men, which is a 2. X Men Apocalypse, which is a 2. Plus the Deadpool. And then Kingdom Hearts and Dragon Ball Z. And Power Rangers. And it'll all get done. Cool part is when you know it's like you get done with something, you're like, well, I definitely won't be the same artist when I come out of that project. Like, whatever happens, you know, you really do feel like you level up. I know, Amazon guy. My dog hates the Amazon guy. She knows the sound of an Amazon truck no matter where. Second one showed up outside, she knew it. How crazy is that? Yep, she knows it. What? It's okay. It's the Amazon. I know he's out there. There he is. Like, very tough dog. Tough dog.
Are you sure your dog's just not super excited as the Amazon guy? Like,
No,
yeah, Amazon
no,
stuff.
she thinks she chases him off. Yeah, she thinks she's chasing him. She's winning.
That's the last thing you want to do to the Amazon guy because he just brings good stuff.
Any sketching book I want to recommend? Not real. I mean, the airship notebook, they gave me one. I was supposed to write a review on Amazon. I did. I said it's cool. And I moved on. You know, I just don't sketch in sketchbooks. Like I kind of like I'll before I start something, I might do some pencil sketches like on the face to kind of figure out how I want to draw some shapes. But I tend to design in silhouette, so that process started really early with me when I was a kid. So copy paper was my way out because I could do that on one sheet, put another piece of sheet over it. Couldn't have projector. Drawing in sketchbooks always felt like they were overpriced. Like this paper is just Staples 67-pound cardstock. So it's not super heavy, but it has a nice tooth to it, and it's super cheap. But it's not wavy too. It's got a little bit of heft. The Canson Media XLs are pretty good. I use those when I paint. But you're talking like $20 for like 20 sheets. I always felt sketchbooks were like they were rarely sketched in. They were like, here's all the cool shit I draw. Look how good I am. And I was like, I don't really develop like that. Everything for me is like iteration. My sketches actually are just sketches. You don't get a lot of oohs. You look at my book. Oh, we thought Rob would have a better sketchbook. It's gone this way since high school. I'd be in college. I'd look at my sketchbooks. I'm like, it's a place for me to fuck you guys. Like, when this shit's a popularity contest.
Yeah, it seems like a sketchbook should be just that, like you're sketching stuff out, developing ideas, and I feel like it's turned into this. Oh, a sketchbook is like a fully produced like book of like almost final sort of art.
Almost final. You know? It's more final than the concept art in the Empire Strikes Back fucking art of book. Like,
Yeah,
so I don't buy into all that nonsense.
that said, keep your eyes open for the SketchCraft sketchbook.
I would not call it a sketchbook. It'd be the art of something. Like not that would just be mean.
Yeah.
Here's a little sketch I whipped up. Just sitting at the DMV. Yeah, I can't do any books until I finish Game Cave. I don't need the hassle. Sometime next year, I'll do something. Just won't make any money off it. All my money will be on the fucking sketches I sell. Books don't provide me any funds, folks. They don't actually help. So it's very difficult. So when I have enough material put together for new digibooks, then I'll go do a sketchbook. Because after that, I can do digibooks. Try to actually make some, let's support Rob money. Not the let's pay the printer.
Yeah.
Let Rob work for free money. Printer gets to make all the money.
Make just enough money to buy some more art supplies.
If that. Maybe buy Brandon some more supplies. Just the trick is to space everything out. Artists do everything. So here's my second sketchbook of the year, shit like that. It's to have a rotation of different art projects that cater to different audiences. Kind of cycle through, always creating new shit. It's like similar to a comedian in a way. Like do that special and that's it. You know, gotta go make new stuff. Shit. Put some white out on it. See Michael Giacchino is gonna score Spider-Man?
No.
Yeah, you know who dropped that info?
No.
Kevin
Who?
Feige. He was at this trade show or whatever talking about stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, Giacchino's gonna score Spider-Man." He goes, "Wait, we announced that, right?" So please tell me we already announced that. And then Giacchino goes on his fucking Twitter and goes, the rumor's true. The rumors are true, and I'm like, you mean when the CEO?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that qualifies as a rumor.
It's hilarious. It's like, please tell me we already announced that. Nope. It's the best.
Whoops.
Whoopsie daisy. You know.
Yeah, I got another free month of Marvel Unlimited, so I've been reading the Miles Morales Spider-Mans.
How you liking it?
It's pretty good.
You ever read Bennis's total like Hollywood sellout or whatever?
No.
Yeah, he did this like in the early 2000s. He was writing movie scripts. Fucking hilarious. Before he even started working with Todd. Any life lessons? I'd listen to the regular podcast. I got tons of life lessons in those. Sketchcraft Live playlist. Seem to ramble on there about that sort of thing.
Sorry, I'm quiet. I'm doing some work stuff.
It's okay, Kyle.
All right. Neaton, want to learn Hindi? Do you want to learn Hindi, Rob?
You know, you might need to. You might have to shoot out there. 3D becomes a big deal. You know, out there, you might have to go. You're close, right? Kuwait. It's another what? 8 hours? 6 maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that far. It's pretty. Once you're over there on that side of the world, it's pretty close.
Nah, I learned how to draw. I don't really. I sort of feel languages. Google's gonna solve that problem in my lifetime. So I'll just be like Star Trek. I'll learn to draw. I lived in Germany. You know, I never learned the language. Not my thing. My friends would go, you know how smart that person is? They know 7 languages. I'm like, that's because I'm stupid. You know? I'm trying to learn esports, like just how it works. That's hard enough right now. I don't need. start drawing your one punch tomorrow. I was holding off till you got back
No, thanks.
so you could hang out with that.
One punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good timing. I've got, I think, all week off until Friday.
Have you drawn these kinds of sketches on your walls? Nah, not really. Wow. We can't draw on our walls here. My landlord will kill me. I'm not really a graffiti guy, so just paper.
I can't even imagine how long it would take you if you're doing a wall size piece and you're drawing all your detail you do.
Probably a week. Guess I can't imagine it. And I'm like, not worth it.
Did you watch the all of Luke Cage?
Yeah.
I have 3 episodes left. Every time I go to watch it, I'm like, I have other stuff I need to get done.
It ends well, dude. It's just some of the things that they did, like the plotty stuff, I don't care for.
Yeah.
You know, it needed more Fargo and less comic book Gotham stuff. You know what I mean? Like if
Mm.
they could have shown the families throughout time and everything, you know, and how Harlem changed, and give me actually the geography of Harlem so I know where the fuck it is, you know, in New York. Just pretend I don't know anything about science or never studied. But when they speak very serious and they start acting like people have destiny to become like villains and shit, I'm like, that's the shit I can't stand. But they do a lot right, you know. Um, did you see the part where he's like the hoodies and stuff?
The what part?
The part with Method Man?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that trust me, that you got to keep watching. It's their best episode. I think yeah, you're probably like the episode right before it. So
Yeah,
great
because so
casting.
far,
Hmm?
so far it's just been like every time he gets holes in like his hoodie, he's like, "Oh man,
Right.
got
It just
holes in my
it took
hoodie
them a
again."
little bit to find like a their way, you know. So I'm actually looking forward to that Legion show because Noah Hockley, the guy who show runs Fargo, is doing that.
Hmm.
You know, and I want to see what he can do with mutants. So
It comes out next year.
right.
Do you know what network it's on? Or
FX.
okay,
Fargo, right?
yeah. So keeping him on the same network.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah, I gave him a Star Trek show. Are these drawings from my imagination? Yep. I just start with the silhouette. I make most of it up here as I draw it. So get the basic shape and kind of work out the face and then do the rest on the board. Yeah, we're way past the can I make things up from my imagination phase and way past that. Thank God. I remember those days. That was no fun. Because I could never draw what was in my head. Now I can. I'm like, why? Why are you thinking all this stuff up? Oh, the buildings. I gotta get those done. Alright. This will be super easy. This is my if I ever want to have a chance to draw a spawn, I have to learn how to draw with fucking pens. Because pencils ain't gonna cut it.
No pencils for Spawn.
They don't. He only inks. He doesn't ink much anymore, despite what people think. I've noticed that a lot of the people who take over the book have to do their own shit. So a lot of photo drawing overs and stuff like that.
Oh, it's your favorite.
Yeah. And I'm not going to do this with Quill. Yeah, I can. I just fucking don't want to knock over all my shit. Hate when I knock over ink. And I like being able to like move the nib anywhere I want. With Quill, you really need to go left to right no matter what. So you end up with these really awkward page turns where you're just like constantly. How can I improve at drawing from my imagination? I can draw a character pretty decent, but just looking at some reference and not copying an image. But I suck at drawing from imagination. I draw from silhouettes. You know, come up with a basic idea in my head of what I'd like to do, and if I don't, I just start with the silhouette and start to work out a shape. You know, I've done enough anatomy study to know how all the pieces fit. And you can continue to do that, but it's all shape construction and how things link in together. If you understand drawing from center and how spines work, and you can pretty much come up with anything. If you don't, take some 3D modeling classes, some ZBrush, that will help build that up. Yeah, it takes years. But the way to go would be, I'd say, definitely take some 3D modeling, some sculpting, so you can start to use a different part of your brain than just trying to draw everything.
Yeah, that's back when I used to draw as a teenager. I never got good at just drawing straight from imagination. I could
Well, there
I
was
could
too many lines
draw a
involved. See, Kyle, I always feel there's too many lines involved. So you're
yeah.
trying to draw this, right, like a spinal figure. Because, let me give you an example. A piece of scratch paper lying around here, right? So, like, here's when I was a kid, you know, like, you're trying to come up with a Batman. So then you're like, I'll draw an action line, right? And then I'll put, let's see, his head, and then his shoulders, and then I'll stick figure this, and then oh no, I'm out of space. Yeah, I didn't fit him in the box. That's the first thing I run into, you know. But what I didn't understand was that he's actually in a volume, right, with the horizon line. He's in a
Mm,
three-dimensional volume, And for me, it was like, look at all these lines to build up shapes, to put things over, to put things over, to then add things on top. It's a lot of stuff, man. So I started messing with markers, you know, and I don't have one of my big markers here. Sharpies. And I found it just easier, with the Sharpie to, it's not really a Sharpie. Let me grab one. With the Sharpie to develop an initial sketch. Oh, this broke or something? That one's not working very well. Wow, really? Not my Sharpie. See, as I don't use these things anymore. Um, to come in here and be like, all right, let's say I want to get Batman some armor. So I can just give him some big giant boots. And I can come over here and now I do this all digitally, but this is how I used to do it when I was a kid. And then if I want to add buildings, I can just, and then I would kind of throw some curvature. And it was much easier to start with these silhouettes. You can enlarge them using a photocopy machine. and then draw into the silhouettes and reconstruct all the stuff. And then I can add things. When I would reconstruct is when I would go and add extra details. I could really work out how I want the cape to work, you know? Things like that. Same with spaceships. Like, spaceships is just super easy. I mean, you can design a spaceship just by. I mean, look, I can just create some random fucking shapes. Give myself a little stupid little thruster back here, couple of fins. Just do really weird things. And then draw into that and figure out where I want things to go. You could even flip it upside down and go, oh, it's actually that way. Do do do. You know? So I found that way easier to develop from than that. You know? And when I was in school, it was easier for me to do this and then kind of go home and rework it out versus me trying to sit in class and I'd feel this pressure to be like this. Because you have these kids in class who could just sit there and they just noodle all these things, or maybe they were memorizing drawings they traced at home. Fuck, I know. I've seen all those guys that were really good when I was in high school. They didn't ever get any better. You know what I mean? Like, so I have to wonder, when they just redrawing shit and I didn't really think to cheat, you know, when I was a kid. So, but now I do it digitally because it's easier to do that digitally. But you can do it with markers, cheap paper. But Kyle, like, okay, so you tried drawing, it didn't work out very well. But if you had started sculpting or model kit bashing or something, you know what I mean? You could have been designing three-dimensionally. There might have been a way for it to work for you, you know?
Yeah, I think your roughy style is great because you create the volume first and then you
Yeah, container.
design within that. Whereas I think my problem was giving those characters volume. I'd start with all the lines. And I'm like, I don't know where to go from here. Like, it
I
doesn't.
wasn't able to quantify it into words. I kind of just had a process until one day I sat in this class I had taken in college, sculpting class, and you know she's like, first you build an armature, then you put all this stuff on top of the armature. I'm like, I fucking don't like drawing that way, you know. And so I was sitting there just fucking ignoring the class, doing my own thing, just sketching and drawing little silhouettes, um, and then it just dawned on me. And I'm looking at the sculpture and I'm looking at the silhouette, and I'm like, didn't Michelangelo used to chisel shit out? Then they start with like a
Yeah.
block of marble and start to cut things out. And she's like, yeah, it's called the subtractive method. You know? And I'm like, that's it. That's how my mind thinks. The subtractive method. You know, you start off with the form and you cut out the thing from the form. That's how my mind works. You know? So I never have to worry about remembering a flying pose or a drawing pose. It's just silhouette, you know? Foreshortening just a blob in front of another blob.
So, what I got out of this conversation is you think you're Michelangelo?
Mm, Kyle, it's deep.
Yeah.
It's deep. Well, he did stare into walls, right? Was it him or Da Vinci? Might have been Da Vinci. I do that. I stare at the blank walls. But that's because I used to have a lot of detention. So I'd stare at the walls and just try to see shapes and shit.
Yeah, I got practice.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that's quite the same thing.
Detention paid off.
So once I figured all that out, starting with something wasn't hard. You know, you still have to learn how things are constructed, you know, how those fit together. But I can't come up with an idea or I put this thing down. It's like, well, you know, sometimes you don't have to think about it. Just start sketching shapes. If you got an iPad, you can finger paint the shit. You can your phone, whatever you want. Like there's so many things now. Luckily, I had a steady supply of Sharpies because my father like hoarded office supplies. So it was the one thing I could constantly plow through. Try not to get high off the Sharpie. I'm not a guy who enjoys the smells of art supplies. So.
It's probably because you didn't have the scented markers.
Oh
Like,
no, we
oh,
had those when I was in grade school. I was not the
cherry
kid
scent.
who. Yeah, I was not the
you,
kid.
you weren't there sniffing all your art supplies.
No, I don't have that in me. I actually like real food. Like how kids like would do these little like fake food parties where they go to a tea party where they would pretend to eat. It would just piss me off. You could get real hungry. I don't want pretend food. So once I figured that out, I started to see it everywhere. Like it is a process that's taught usually in like places like Art Center and shit like that. Even watching old Star Wars documentaries, when they're like designing the Millennium Falcon, all they had some concept art, but all they ever really built was the basic shape. And then they went and bought a bunch of models and stuck shit on top, kid bashing.
Hmm.
It's not like they sat there and sculpted every little piece and then put it on, and then assembled the Falcon. So,
Streecher Design says, "Hey Rob,
hey, what's up from Germany? She's in Germany.
ah, I was just in their airport in Germany.
Frankfurt?
Yeah, it's the
Did you go to the
only
club?
part. It's the only part of Germany I've seen.
Did you go to the discotheque?
No,
They got one there. I've been there. It's very posh. Discotheque.
Streecher says, "Thanks for sharing your brushes. Just finished 2 drawings in no time. This sponge brush is so damn cool for backgrounds."
Ah, cool.
I probably had terrible inflection on that because there's an exclamation point at the end. She was way more excited than I just read it.
Your enthusiasm knows no bounds, Wyatt. You know.
Yes. People are always saying, "Kyle, you're so enthusiastic and emotional all the time." Like, I'll try to dial it. I'll dial it back. Don't worry. Don't worry. I can get this under control. Neaton says, "It's 1:12 a.m. here in India."
Well, it's 12:42 p.m. here. I'm about
Almost opposite times.
yeah, I'm about to wrap this up.
I guess I should go do some work stuff, huh?
Yeah, Kyle. I guess you
Jeez.
should. I gotta go rake the leaves. Well, I've already raked them. I have to go put them in bags. And then I'll come back and work on Final Fantasy. It's good to do yard work. It's good for the soul.
Yep.
But so I tore my hand up. I'm like, I haven't raked leaves since the army. I forgot I'm supposed to wear gloves. Like, not a good idea.
Streecher asked, "Do you know when East Coast starts voting?" They've already started. It's it's like almost 3 in the afternoon there, so they've been voting for a good 5 hours or so now, 6 hours, something like that. Where I live,
Voting.
it doesn't matter. I don't like California's already. There's, there's no point in voting.
Oh, you do have
But
55 electoral votes.
yeah,
Like,
it's actually more important, like the local elections here in California, because you can actually make decisions with that. So
unless you want to vote against a Charger stadium, then you don't get a say. I hope the Chargers become your problem. That would be great.
oh, the football team.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure my tax dollars will go to paying for their stadium or whatever.
that's the hope.
Yeah, you know me, die-hard football fan. I just won't stop talking football.
I don't know who Henry Cartier-Bresson is. All right, zoom out.
He's he's the French guy.
I don't know who that is. Good guess, Cal. All right, this sucker's done for this part. So I'll scan this in and start Copics probably Monday. We'll start Copics Monday and wrap it up for next week. So I will be back on in a couple hours or so, Don't quote me. To start inking Final Fantasy VII.
Streecher has a quick question about blue pencils versus red. Why do you use red?
Because it's my color. Doesn't you could
There you
draw with
go.
green for all you want. Doesn't really matter what color you use. I just think it looks cooler. Red, red, black, and cream are like my thing, you know. So like to keep it real communistic around here. You heard of the Red Scare? Well, this is the Rad Scare, right? Like, looks cooler on your wall, you know.
Neaton, he'll share it on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. So
I
and
appreciate it.
deviant art, and so
The
this picture will be blasted out all over Rob's social medias.
Woot.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Where is? Probably should. For some reason that did not. That must have been from an old mask. Reconnect that. And the lightning bolt. Oh shit. Well, I'll sketch one really quick so we can kind of get that over with. It's kind of irrelevant because I'm going to do that all in white charcoal on the final piece.
Neaton also requests that you play cricket.
Yeah.
I think.
Cricket? Gotta know what a crumpet is. I don't play sports. I don't play anything that I can fall over and hurt my hand. I was in the army. I lived dangerously once. Now I play fetch with my dog, and I walk. It's the
Don't throw
most.
your wrist out, you know.
She doesn't play fetch back. I just throw it. She runs out there, looks at it, and moves on in life. She doesn't really. It's probably a sign of a smart dog. Doesn't get into that. Yeah, I see what you did. You threw it.
Yeah, yeah. You keep throwing it, and I keep bringing it back.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
so she's kind of probably hoping there's food attached to that ball. Oh, no food, huh? Fuck you. All right, everybody. It's good enough. I will be back on soon. Thanks for hanging out. Say goodbye, Kyle.
bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
If you'd like to find out
Thanks
more
for
about Kyle, then he has links below. So, links in the info. All right. Later, folks.